Philip, congratulations. You are first.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown. So we've got some shocking news out of Florida where Judge Cannon has now threatened Jack Smith with sanctions. So we're just going to discuss that right now. But first, a quick note for our viewers. This is our 300th episode of The Legal Breakdown. We just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. And if you're not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing, especially as we await a verdict in Donald Trump's New York criminal trial, which we'll discuss in a separate video. But going back to Florida, Glenn, what happened here with Judge Cannon and why is she now threatening Jack Smith?
So, Brian, Donald Trump in recent days has been posting and making statements that include outright lies, and they're basically violence-inducing lies against the FBI or about the FBI, falsely claiming that when they executed the search warrant at Mar-a-Lago, the FBI was authorized to and prepared to shoot Donald Trump and injure his family members. We're going to read one of those lies in a moment. So, of course, with Donald Trump engaging in that kind of extremely dangerous rhetoric, Trump-appointed Judge Aileen Cannon decided to threaten Jack Smith with sanctions. Why? Well, because Jack Smith filed a motion a few days ago with Judge Cannon saying, Judge, we can't have a defendant who's on pretrial release. Remember, Donald Trump is still on pretrial release in 4 felony cases, 2 state and 2 federal. We can't have a defendant on pretrial release posting abject lies that are very likely to incite violence against FBI agents, against FBI field offices. We've already seen some of Donald Trump's supporters inspired to violence against, for example, I think it was the
Yeah, and Tim Pool was spreading that bullshit too.
Cincinnati FBI field office. So Jack Smith filed a motion asking the judge to please modify the conditions of Donald Trump's pretrial release so that he can't make these obviously false and, very dangerous assertions, putting the lives of FBI agents at risk. So Judge Cannon took a look at the motion and she said, you know what? I don't think you conferred sufficiently with Donald Trump and his lawyers before you filed this motion, so I am threatening you, Jack Smith, with sanctions. So here's the thing. She
How in the hell is that even possible?
didn't care one whit about the violence-inducing lies Donald Trump was telling. And let's talk about this obligation of the parties to confer with one another before they file a motion.
They don't.
It is a thing. I did it hundreds and hundreds of times with defense attorneys. I would say, I'm contemplating filing a motion to ask your client to stop lying and inciting others to violence. Will your client agree to stop? No, he won't. So do you oppose this motion? Yes, I do. There, we've conferred. And I put that very information in the motion I filed. We conferred with opposing counsel, and they said they ain't going to stop, and they opposed the motion to modify the conditions. But, Brian, we need to just back up a little bit to the motion that Jack Smith filed that got this ball rolling. A couple of days ago, Jack Smith filed a 12-page pleading in the Florida classified documents obstruction of justice espionage case pending against Donald Trump. And he asked the judge to modify Trump's conditions to make him stop lying and endangering the FBI. Here is some of what is contained in that motion. This is what Donald Trump said. Now, mind you, in this motion, and this gets my blood pressure rising, in this motion, Jack Smith said, when we executed the search warrant at Mar-a-Lago, we did a couple of things. First of all, we conferred with Donald Trump's lawyers in advance of the search warrant being executed. Now, listen, I don't.
Base donated $2. Let me see.
So we don't need reparations. We need laws and legislation. strictly geared toward black people, just like the Asians got. We don't need no reparations. We need laws and legislation that will offer us the same equal rights and protection under the law that the Asians get.
You know that's what.
What is he talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about.
Obama was supposed to do, right?
Obama was a mulatto kid that loved his white side more than his black side, and he was raised not to like America because he can't fit in nowhere. So Obama did exactly what he was supposed to do.
You know, it's fucking hilarious. Barack Obama's father makes like $3 a month in Africa. Or no, wait. No, I think it was his cousin. Sorry. Yeah, his cousin. Or brother or something. Yeah. This is Barack Obama's brother. I think he makes like $3 a month or some shit. George Hussein Obama, the half-brother of the most famous man in the world, picture in the Nairobi slum he calls home. Isn't that fucked? So crazy, the difference, just because of, you know, where he was born.
You well rested? Any new Frank vids to watch?
I am tired, but not super tired. Let me see if there's new Frank vids to watch. No new vids. And he has... What? No. I'll do that after stream. No, I'll do it after stream. I'll do it after stream. Can you bring the pills down? I can't do that. I can't. He seems like
What's
he
up?
has some new shorts. Let me see.
How are you guys? We have a new and interesting product for you on frankiesfreerangefoods.com. These are organic jarred russet potatoes, prepared, ready to eat, super convenient, delicious. I was eating these straight out of the jar yesterday, and it's
$12 for what amounts to roughly 1.5 potatoes.
nice to not have to, prepare rice or sourdough, especially, when you don't have time, you're in a rush, and you're really hungry, and you just want.
Like, bro, it takes, like, what, 5 minutes to microwave a potato?
Something to eat. So this is obviously in glass with the highest quality ingredients, organic potatoes, filtered sea salt. We even used glass
Filtered sea salt. How do you filter sea salt?
bottled Mountain Valley mineral water, and then there's a little bit of organic vinegar in there. Our Amish buddies charged us a little too much to make these, so they are $11 a jar on the website for 24 ounces.
$11, and it says $12 on the label.
1.5
Why?
pounds of potatoes, but super convenient, super high quality. I'm excited to have this for you guys, and we will continue to do these types of products in the future, hopefully getting them to you as affordable.
Well, that is retarded.
We have a
Hey VG, I saved a turtle yesterday driving home from a cute Ethiopian's house. She's really cute. Can you react to it? Also, can you pause the video in the beginning and read the captions?
Sure. Let me take a look. Almost lost a finger saving a turtle. Didn't see this, but there was a family watching the turtle cross, and they probably laughed, whistled, and clapped after I saved the turtle, and maybe even a driver. There was a giant turtle in the middle of the road. Cars were swerving around. After I passed it, I made a U-turn and parked my car in front of the turtle, picked it up, and put it in the grass. It hissed at me and tried to bite me. That's why I dropped it. Good, it fell on its shell. Yeah, if there's a technique to picking up snapping turtles. So what you want to do is grip them way, way back here at the back of their shell. You don't want to pick them up in the middle because their head can actually reach around really far. So don't pick them up here. They can actually still bite you, and they can bite really fucking hard. They can actually, like, bite your finger off. So you pick them up at the back of the shell, and you don't actually pick them off the ground. They'll actually, it's kind of like a wheelbarrow walk. So you just pick them up at the back, and then you let them walk on their hands, and you just guide them to the side of the road.
Taking your mitts at different times.
Yeah, thank you, sweetie.
And that's your last circling.
Okay, love you.
Pharmacy tomorrow, okay?
Mm-hmm. It's a really nice turret. Oh no! Turtle fell down. Well, you did the right thing. Let me see. How to move snapping turtle. I think there's a video tutorial online.
Threatened, and they are indeed capable of delivering a serious bite.
When moving a turtle from the road, always remember to use your hazards. Move the turtle across the road in the direction it was going, and always leave a turtle near where you found it. Now we would like to show you a couple ways to safely move a snapping turtle across the road. Picking up a turtle by its tail could damage its vertebrae, so try not to grab them there if at all possible. Also, never grab a snapping turtle at its sides, as they have deceptively long necks and can turn around and bite your hand. So instead, grab it from the back of the shell just above the tail. Using two hands, grab the back of the shell just above the tail. This way you can move the turtle across the road without being bitten. You can also grab a floor mat, a piece of cardboard, a towel, or anything that you can find to help you slide the turtle across the road. This common snapping turtle was found injured. He has been a patient at the Schindler Wildlife Center here at the North Carolina Zoo. He has been rehabilitated and will be released later today.
So that's how you can pick up and move a snapping turtle. You do not want to pick them up at the side because they can literally bite your finger off. No, Finn. No, I don't want it. No. Go get your mom. What are we even doing down here? F donated $2. Obama sucks. Let me see.
All right, young lady in the t-shirt right there. Vegan outreach.
Vegan outreach. Woo! Thank you, Senator, very much for your strong environmental position. Anyway, okay. The United Nations actually has reiterated that factory farming is contributing more to greenhouse gas emissions than all of transportation. So I think as a global community, we really need to be the leader and moving more towards non-factory farm animal agriculture. It's very egregious. There's 10 billion land animals that we are funneling our precious water and grain through, and 70% of all of our grain could help feed the world hungry. So, as the next leader of the most amazing nation in the world, how can we set the example on a more nutritional...
Okay, come on. Oh. Got this big chunko. See, this is Finn. See Finn? That's Finn. He's right there. Okay, lie down. Lie down. No Putin. No, lie down. Lie down.
plant-based diet that's more eco-friendly and sustainable that can maintain our water resources and all of our grains. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, it's a great question. Now I have to say, in the interest of full disclosure, that I do like a steak once in a while. I'm just
Off with his head.
being honest. I like barbecue.
Yes, send him to the gallows. What a jackass.
I'm not gonna lie. But the young lady makes a very important point, and that is this. Right now, our food system worldwide is under enormous pressure. It's under enormous pressure because, first of all, you've had, as a consequence of climate change, you've had severe changes in weather patterns. We don't fully understand what these effects are, but for example, Australia's had huge droughts.
Oh, yes. The Earth's climate is getting hotter, and it's getting harder to produce food, so let's reduce the overall food supply by allowing for factory farming and exacerbate the issue with global warming causing food insecurity. Genius. Finn, lie down. You're not sitting on my lap if you're going to be annoying. Lie down. Lie down. Lie down. Good boy.
Which has taken a lot of crops, grain production has been much lower. And supplies have tightened. You're starting to see riots.
If grain production's lower, then why would you feed the grain to livestock animals that would reduce the food supply? You fucking idiot.
Around food in places like Haiti and other poor countries around the world. And what is also true is that as countries like China and India become wealthier, then they start changing their food habits. They start eating more meat, more animal. And what happens then is, because it takes more grain to produce a pound of beef than if they were just eating the grain, what ends up happening is that it puts huge pressure on food supplies. Now,
yes, that's the whole point of not doing that anymore.
Lean Beef Patty shared the All Eyes on Rafa AI on her Instagram story.
Fuck.
Are we the only ones left that advocates for Israel? Are we really on the right side of history by sticking with them? Not that I'm doubting.
What an actual fucking moron. Write to your government representatives. Boycott, sign petitions to ceasefire. What a fucking dumb, worthless whore. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't even know what to reply to this because it's just so fucking stupid. Like, it is so infuriating that every fucking retarded influencer, ceasefire, Jews aren't allowed to live. All these Jews that are getting killed by terrorists, good, die. Jews are supposed to die. Oh my fucking god, dude. What are they supposed to do? Just get blown up by terrorists forever until they're just exterminated? Like, you fucking idiot. Do you even know why the fucking people were killed in Rafah, you fucking moron? Holy shit. What a fucking jackass. Jesus Christ, like, everybody's such a fucking idiot. Thanks for the donation, Grey Knight. You know what, I'm gonna fucking screenshot that. Like, what a fucking dumbass. Holy fucking shit, what an idiot. Where's their stupid Instagram? Fucking dumbass. I can't stand it. Drives me fucking insane. You know what? I'm gonna make a video calling her out for being an anti-Semite. Fuck it. I'm gonna call her out for being an anti-Semite, and I'm gonna call her out for supporting the fucking Holocaust. Like, it's so funny. Oh, Israeli ceasefire. It's a genocide. It's a genocide. Well, what the fuck do you eat, you fucking worthless whore? Gee, murdered fucking animals that are being holocausted. I guess you are for a fucking Holocaust then, so why the fuck are you complaining about fucking Israel? Jackass.
Americans would actually benefit from a change in diet. I don't think that that's something that we should legislate. But I think that it is something that, as part of our overall healthcare system.
F donated $2. Look at the peaceful march of return that we always hear about. Get fucking yeeted, bitch.
It was billed as a day of reckoning in the Gaza Strip. Hamas called for thousands.
Why are they shooting at us? We just want to illegally cross the border with guns and knives and explosives. That's all we wanted to do. Why are they shooting? So what if they warned us not to come to the border?
Thousands to amass along the border with Israel to denounce the US Embassy's move to Jerusalem and demand an end to the blockade on Gaza. Tens of thousands of Gazans answered that call today, and the Israelis responded with overwhelming force. While tear gas rained down and border guards fired live ammunition and artillery at the crowds, casualty after casualty was stretchered out.
So there's another protester shot. They're using live ammunition right now. We're hearing there's already been about 200 people injured so far today, and it's only about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
As the day wore on, the number of people injured and killed kept rising. Yet protesters continued to surge forward. Teams of young men carrying tires to the front to burn and obscure the view of Israeli snipers so others could cut the fence.
Why do people stay when they're firing all the gas and everything?
This was the largest loss of life since these protests began. But they've been going on for months now. Funerals like this take place nearly every week. Jabba al-Mustafa was shot in the chest on Friday as he approached the border fence. He was a 39-year-old father of 4.
Yeah, get fucked, dude. They warned you not to fucking go to the border fence, and you did, and you got shot. Get fucked.
For many here, a decade-long Israeli blockade has made life so hellish that they're readily willing to risk their lives.
Gee, I wonder why the blockade exists. Couldn't have anything to do with the bombs or the rockets.
Tests is
Well, that's Vice News.
We should encourage, because, for example, if we reduced obesity down to the rates that existed in 1980, we would save the Medicare system $1 trillion. We would reduce diabetes rates. We would reduce heart disease. So, and so the fact that we subsidize some of these big agribusiness operations that are not necessarily producing healthy food, and we discourage or we don't subsidize farmers who are producing fruits and vegetables and small-scale farming that gets produce immediately to consumers as opposed to having it processed. The fact that we're not doing more to make sure that healthy food is in the schools, all those things don't make sense. And I think it is important for us to re-examine our overall food policy so that we're encouraging good habits and not bad habits. For example, just making sure that there are more fruits and vegetables in school lunch programs. That would make an enormous difference in how our children's diets develop. That would make us healthier over the long term. It would cut our healthcare costs, and maybe it would help people elsewhere in the world who are in less wealthy countries feed themselves as well. So it's a great question. It's important. All right.
Well, Obama's a jackass. So who would have fucking known? Let's see.
A few new products on Frankie's Free Range Meat this week, starting with our Iberico bacon that is now cured and smoked. So we've been selling raw Iberico bacon for a few years now, but this is the more traditional preparation. And if you guys are unfamiliar, Iberico pork is from Spain. It's the highest quality pork in the world. They're eating a very special diet on pasture.
Dodo donates $2. This Terrence guy is a complete crackhead. I just heard of him. He makes a ton of pseudoscientific claims, and people actually listen to him. He has a huge cult following. What the fuck?
Terrence Howard reaches out to Neil deGrasse Tyson, who
Yeah, Terrence Howard is a fucking whack job. I never knew this about him, and now his career in Hollywood makes a lot more sense. He was denied a bunch of movie roles, and they also didn't bring him on for any of the other Iron Man or Avengers movies. They didn't renew his contract, and it's because the guy's a fucking whack job.
who proves that the modern education system only locks your mind in a box.
I reached out to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was like, hey, man, yeah, I'd love for you to come on my show, do my radio, do my TV thing. But I was like, yeah, but I've got something I want to introduce to you. And it was only 36 pages. It was a treatise. I told him it was controversial, and I sent him over the 36-page thing that had the wave conjugations in it, but I started it off with 1 × 1 = 2. He attacked it with such vitriol when he wrote his
Yes, 1 × 1 = 1.
Response to my paper, and he said, if you have any other questions, you're going to have to see somebody else, and he wouldn't take my calls anymore.
Very interesting that would be
Yes, because he has better things to do than to waste his time with a retard.
his take as a public educator.
The reason I wanted to talk to him was because of his show, The Cosmos. The very first episode he had was talking about Giordano Bruno, looking for that grand unified field equation, and maybe one day somebody is going to do it. And when they do it, it's going to change the world. And I'm like, dude, I've done it. I've got
Yeah, he's a delusional narcissist. I'm actually fairly convinced he's gonna have a big mental breakdown and like kill a bunch of people. He actually said on the Joe Rogan podcast that he was going insane and wanted to kill people. Enric Rodriguez donated $2. This conservatard bit the bullet on Name the Trait. This was his genius response after getting backlash from everyone, including his own fans. Let me see.
So this is the older millennial. He has 1 million followers here on TikTok, and yesterday in front of nearly 5,000 people, he said he wants to kill everyone with a mental disability.
Yeah, so I guess we've kind of reached an end point
I'm
here.
perfectly fine with throwing mentally disabled people off a mountain.
All right.
I believe in the betterment of humanity. I don't think we should care.
Later in the day, he
Okay, so he's a eugenicist. All right.
doubled down on his statement when questioned about it by my friends Harry and Chris.
People? Yeah, I think people who are going to hold humanity back, we should eliminate them.
Can you define like hold?
like the Jews. Right. So this is what leads to the Holocaust.
Humanity back?
Yeah, people who have met an IQ standard that they cannot support humanity or support a normal job or are mentally disabled.
After his interaction with Harry and Chris, he seemed to recognize that this was incredibly damaging to his public image, as well as potentially damaging to his business, MCU, that he publicly owns.
Oh, boy.
So he decided to backtrack and lie to everyone. In this clip that he posted that is now taken down, he said this entire conversation was about abortion.
So liberals will never let shit taken out of context go to waste. So you're about to see a ton of videos about me. You're not going to see that conversation was about abortion. See, we were having a discussion about abortion.
And this was a lie. The original conversation was about veganism.
You wouldn't feel bad for like throwing a mentally disabled person off a cliff. Like you could just go vegan. I don't understand why you're.
No,
Like, this is
I'm
an
fine
insane
with it.
bullet.
I'm like, you're going to be a burden on humanity. Off the rock you go.
I know that eventually I would run into somebody who will bite this bullet. It's just, this is the first time someone's actually bitten this bullet to avoid veganism.
But even if it were to be about abortion, this is still the older millennial supporting eugenics. I
Yeah.
want to make this next bit very clear. These ideologies are no different than the ideologies of Mustache Man in Germany in the 1930s, as well as the same ideologies that drove American slavery. These beliefs are morally abhorrent and depraved beyond belief. And I would like to make it clear this is not a political issue. I bet that we can all agree, regardless of...
Oh, boy.
Let me quickly explain to the liberals why I don't give a fuck about the videos
Bad news, VG. They are making a sequel to one of Pixar's worst films ever.
This is Joy, coming to you live in Riley's mind. Make some noise! Sadness is in the house! It's anger! Ow. Sorry. Oh, nope. Yeah. Out with the old preview of the next.
That looks terrible. They're really running out of ideas. Like, that is just such a dumb idea for a film. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Palestinians were warned to stay away or they get shot. Then they moved to the fence and got shot and cried about it. What's that phrase? Fuck around, find out. Lol.
Yeah. And then we're supposed to, treat them like they're, like, retarded babies, and they couldn't possibly have known any better. But yeah. Thanks for the donation, Will Mage. Fuck Cars, donate $2. Do you agree with the Fuck Cars movement? Following content may be graphic. Just to be safe, I'm not going to show pedestrians getting struck by cars on my stream. I don't know what the Fuck Cars movement is, but it's literally impossible to live in most places in North America without a car. The entire infrastructure of North America is designed around owning a car. There's only a few cities in all of North America that can actually be traveled with like a bicycle or with public transit. Like Toronto is one of the few. Some parts of Ottawa and some parts of Montreal, Vancouver maybe, but yeah, you kind of need a car. Thanks for the donation though, dude. Dodo donated $2. I'll check out those links in a minute. Thanks for the donation, man.
you're making about me. And I'm going to quote Rick and Morty here. I am not affected by your booze because I've seen what makes you cheer. For me to take your criticism to heart, I'd first have to value your opinion. And the funny thing is, you guys are trying to attack me from like a moral standpoint, as if you hold any moral high ground whatsoever. The vast majority of you...
Yes, when you start saying we should throw mentally disabled people off of cliffs, we definitely have the moral high ground.
are pro-choice. You are pro-abortion. You are pro-murdering babies just because you don't want them. You have no moral high ground. I think stupid people should walk off a cliff. That's certainly not as bad of a position as murdering babies because it'll fuck with your vacation schedule.
Okay, so now he's lying. He said we should throw mentally disabled people off cliffs. He didn't say mentally disabled people should walk off cliffs.
Or murdering babies because you don't like what it's going to do to your body. Like, no, your beliefs are fucking horrible. You have no morals. You support some of the worst things that have ever been created on this earth. You support Planned Parenthood, an organization founded by Margaret Sanger, who was an avowed eugenicist. And
I don't understand. He's criticizing Planned Parenthood because it had eugenics roots, but then he has a eugenics position.
A rampant racist. You support a party in this country that has the history of racism in our nation. Please know that I do not give a fuck what you think of me. Because like I said before, to feel anything about your criticism, I'd first have to value your opinion. I'd first have to think that you...
Okay, this guy's just a lying dipshit.
Squidward, I disagree. The first Inside Out was a trash film. All the characters were just nonsense emotions. That's it. I get that's the point of the film, but I don't care. It still does not change the fact that they were not real tape characters at all.
It's just a stupid idea. And dumb and boring. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Let me take a look at your links you sent me. Leaked footage of public health officials discussing enhanced surveillance and farm quarantining for avian flu. Will you comply with the next pandemic they try to push?
Thanks, Jessica Hopkins, Public Health Ontario. I was just wondering, so in the event there is...
Hi VG. I hope that you are feeling good tonight. THX for getting me through my work earlier with a stream smile. I got paid to watch you essentially lol. Anywho, check out this based take from Robert De Niro and Trump.
I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists. I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself. He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city, it's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that. Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously.
What's up with the glasses? Are you lost in CPHD today? Watch one of these videos, pick whichever one seems most appealing.
The next morning, I'm like, wow, this. So yeah, 7 months.
Okay, we can watch those in a bit. Thanks for the donation, Mark Sisson University. Sometimes I just wear sunglasses while streaming because I get a bit of eye strain from the studio light. But thanks, man.
Time for some pointless ranting.
Imagine, I copied it, yet one of the...
Okay, so Greg with more cope. We'll watch that in a minute. Thanks for that donation, Grandam.
Positive from milk. Do we have a plan to start active surveillance in humans? I think that, I'm just sort of thinking about what's the next step? Are we just going to wait, or do we have something that's kind of queued up and ready to...
De Niro has a nice thick cock but a narrow anus which makes anal very difficult. He's not your type. You need a nice look butthole for that crotch turd dong you have. Also, is this funny? Squidward, it's fine if you like it, I just don't know why it's construed by some critics as one of Pixar's best as well as one of the great set animated films of all time. I mean, it has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Are you kidding me? How far has Pixar fallen?
Alright, well, thank you for that, Dodo. Appreciate the donation. Grandam, you didn't give me a link, but if you give me the link, I can watch it. Thanks for that donation, dude. That was not funny.
To go once we see a positive. Thanks.
So Jessica, that's exactly the protocol I was talking about in the enhanced surveillance that we're working to put together that we won't use. I shouldn't say we won't use. There's some potential ways we could use it. We could get baseline. We could do it on pigs. We could do it on avian, even though it's been done by the BC folks. So, but obviously,
Okay, so this guy doesn't know what enhanced surveillance means.
preoccupation is to land something so that if we do
The
find
guy
a
who made the
positive
post.
farm, we can get in there. But that's where our work right now has been focused on trying to develop something that would be implementable around those farms. I will flag that, there's the science part and the lab part and the thinking through the epi part, and then there's the enormous sensitivities around who's going on farms, are these quarantined areas, the farmers,
Dodo, answer these two questions. Why don't you type properly? Why you never show up in chat?
Okay, maybe he can answer that for you. Thanks for the donation I tipped. Sorry. So, they have to quarantine certain farms that have avian flu outbreaks. Otherwise, it'll just spread and infect every single farm, and then you will have the entire, farming industry collapse. This guy guy who made this post is, literally fucking retarded. Let's see this other link. A member of Taiwan's parliament stole a bill and ran off with it to prevent it from being passed.
引爆的资料不放手，还一度跌在椅子上，两人来回拉扯，最后郭果文使尽全力抢下文件，以堪比美式足球员的速度冲出一场。
I'm pretty sure that's not how you prevent a bill to be passed. They literally made a convolutional neural network in Minecraft before we got GPT-5. I don't know what I'm looking at. This is how Muslims captured Yazidi and Christian women in Iraq and Syria, selling them and having sex with them. As you can see in the video, wake up before this happens in the West. Together, let us raise our voices and demand a ban on Islam and the Quran. I think this guy might be reaching. Well, that is fucked. Thanks for that donation, Dodo. Let's see. Grandam donated $2.
Everything that you've...
Let's see. Hassan. This is where anti-Semitism comes from. Okay, we can take a look at that. Thanks for the donation, dude. Gegan Veins donated $2. Man, when are you going arm wrestling? Didn't you say the Devin Larrick Club is near you or something? Please bring AR content. May is already here. I'm gonna do animal rights content. Don't worry. I definitely don't want to join an arm wrestling club right now because I'm training to bench 405, and that would interfere. I don't know if I'm going to get into arm wrestling. I don't know if I have enough of an interest in it, but thanks for the donation, dude.
Seriously now, of course. But around the country, people, evangelicals to rallied an angry mob.
Okay, whatever.
WalkScore analyzes the walkability of a location based on the proximity of stores and other amenities, as well as how pedestrian-friendly its road layout is. It's actually a really useful resource, but we want to draw
This guy talks really annoying.
attention to its limitations in the area of city rankings.
According to WalkScore, Vancouver is by far the most walkable city in Canada with a score of 80, putting it in the category of very walkable. In second and third place are Montreal and Toronto, whose scores of 65 and 61 only put them in the category of somewhat walkable.
What's important to notice is that these ratings are based on the municipal boundaries of each city. Vancouver's score is only the city of Vancouver, excluding, for example, Burnaby, while Toronto's score is only the city of Toronto, excluding, for example, Mississauga.
The problem here is that these municipal boundaries are largely arbitrary and not comparable between regions. The city of Vancouver last expanded its boundaries in 1929, so today it includes only 26% of Greater Vancouver residents.
Toronto and Montreal, on the other hand, expanded their boundaries in the 90s and 2000s, so around 44% of the residents of Greater Montreal and Greater Toronto live in the core municipality. This disadvantages their walk score because their boundaries go further into the suburbs.
Other cities in Canada are even more disadvantaged by their boundaries. Ottawa and Winnipeg have more than 90% of their metropolitan area's population living in the core municipality. Any walkability that they had in their downtown cores is diluted by all of the distant suburbs.
If Vancouver had expanded its borders as much as Toronto and Montreal, it might include all of the surrounding cities of Burnaby and Richmond. With boundaries comparable to Ottawa or Winnipeg, Vancouver would include even more distant suburbs like Surrey and Langley.
Another inconsistency is Halifax. Its municipal border.
Okay, that's a very boring video. I don't know why you wanted me to watch that.
The main ingredients, he didn't even have it. And so who copied who? Coach Greg, in today's video...
Sup VG? Which is better, incline press with dumbbell or barbell? I know barbell flat bench is better than dumbbell press, but some people say I should be doing incline press with dumbbells. Something about more depth or better scapular plane? Thanks VG.
Barbell is probably going to be better. So the reason is you don't need to have as much balance or stability. So you can actually lift more weight because you're lifting a bar rather than individual dumbbells. And if you equate volume with a higher weight, then you're probably going to get more gains. On top of that, you can get a very deep stretch with a barbell, and if you're using sufficiently large enough dumbbells, the argument that you can get more depth isn't a very strong argument because, again, if you're using 100-pound dumbbells or greater, the size of the dumbbell is going to prevent you from getting, like, really deep into the, like, really deep in the eccentric. So barbell is just a thin little bar, and you can bring it all the way down to your chest with a really big dumbbell that's like this big. You know, it's going to get in the way. So once you get sufficiently strong enough, you're probably not going to get an advantage from greater range of motion. And on top of that, you're not going to be able to lift anywhere near as much weight with a dumbbell. But thanks for the donation, Sander Bling. Hope that helps.
Squidward, yes, I know Pixar as well as Hollywood and John Reel used to make more mutilitarian movies like RoboCop, Die Hard, etc. How did we go from all those to all these crappy Marvel kidder superhero films?
Yeah, we need more movies like RoboCop. Society is getting way too cucked. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
So I copied Derek's brand new pre-workout Gorilla Mode 2.0. That's what the internet's saying, but did I really? And so we've been working on this for 7 months, and I have it right here. Manufacturing date, it says created on 08/29/2023. And that accounts all the time we took to working on what ingredients we're putting in, what was going to be the final result, and by the time they made this, and so it's actually been much longer than this. But oh, I copied Derek. I hear this all the time. When I made my first pre-workout, oh, I copied Derek. Even though mine had beta-alanine, his had none. Imagine, I copied it, yet one of the main ingredients, he didn't even...
Yeah, so, if you take somebody's formula and add a little bit of something to it, you're still copying it. That's kind of like how plagiarism works.
Even have it. And so who copied who? And so Derek and others, Sean Naljuik and the gang, oh, we don't like beta.
Why does he keep saying his name like that? It's Sean Nalawani. Like, what is wrong with fucking Greg? He's like somebody's fucking mom who can't pronounce celebrity names. Dodo donate $2. This woman is very smart. She literally has your exact take on all of these issues. Does she watch you? You should watch this. Yeah, those sorts of disarms are extremely high risk, and you should only do that if you have no other option. But,
I'm Dr. Andrea Love, biomedical scientist. I fact-check false health claims. This is pseudo...
I'll watch this later just because it's really long, but thanks for the donation, Dodo. Winner donated $2. Have you seen this? Pretty neat, to be honest. Let me see. The fuck is this? Oh, is this, just a list of animal rights events that are going on? Okay. I have not seen that, but thanks for the donation, Winter.
Alanine causes paresthesis. You have to use it for 164 days exactly before it begins to work. All because at that day, that's when it reached peak plasma levels. Do you really think that it only works on a magic day? It's 164 days. On day 163, it does nothing, but on day 164, wow, it suddenly starts to work. It doesn't work like that. Same with creatine. Yeah, it takes time for it to build up, but it starts working immediately. A little bit more, a little bit more.
Yeah, so beta-alanine doesn't really have any benefit for people who are doing hypertrophy training. It only benefits people who are doing long-distance exercise, so like marathon running, cycling, or anaerobic activity that is prolonged for like around 2 minutes or more at a time. So if you're doing something like boxing, martial arts, BJJ, those sorts of anaerobic activities, or CrossFit, anaerobic activities that are prolonged, that's what beta-alanine helps with. It doesn't help with, like with weight training.
Or a little bit more, just like that. In the same way that
and that's why you don't see beta-alanine being added to most pre-workout supplements, because it doesn't have a benefit for most people taking them, and it also causes, like, itchiness that's really, really unpleasant and uncomfortable. So why would you sell a product that causes you to be itchy that has no benefit?
Can I get a gifted membership, small fry? Also, Doucette is bigger than you and so is Blaha.
No, he's not. Greg Doucette is like 5'5" tall and weighs like 180 pounds. I'm 6'3", 270. I am a lot larger than Greg. Thanks for the donation though, Harold Barton.
use performance-enhancing drugs, for example, testosterone, or even if you're doing HRT, as soon as you use it, it's starting to work. And so who copied who? Derek's high-stim pre-workout, it now has beta-alanine. Oh, we all made fun of Coach Greg. Oh, itchy butthole. Well, who's laughing now? And so remember, technology, science...
Beta-alanine usually gives me an itchy dick. I usually feel the itchiness in my penis and around my face. That's where I get the itchiness worst if I take beta-alanine. F donated $2. Did you notice Frank Tufano in his reaction videos looks like James Charles? No, I don't think he looks like James Charles at all. Thanks for the donation, F.
Research, it's getting better each and every year. And so how is it that pre-workout 3.0 could be better than 2.0? Well, I'll tell you how. How did it get better? Well, we added NADH. Let me read this to you. Nicotinamide adenine-dinucleotide.
Nicotinamide. Adenin.
I'm gay.
Well, congratulations. Hope you have fun. Thanks for the donation, Harold Barton. Adenine. This is such a weird name. Adenine dinucleotide. That's what it is. Yeah, adenine dinucleotide. Why doesn't Greg just, like, take 10 seconds to just be able to read it properly? Wasn't this the thing that he was complaining was about to be banned? Or restricted because it's, like, classified as a drug? Or is it some other thing?
The word's so big, you know that it works. And so what does NADH do? Well, in simple terms, it increases workout capacity. It allows you to work out harder than last time. And not only that, it's been shown to be a prominent treatment for chronic fatigue syndrome. And so essentially, it's kind of like GO2 max. It gives you more energy and you can therefore train harder. And so when using this product, you will most likely feel stronger because it increases ATP levels, which allows you to put out more power. Rather than get 10 reps, you perhaps produce 11. Similar kinda to when you use creatine. And so why does it do this? Well, it's a precursor to NAD, which produces the ATP. And so one molecule of NADH leads to the production of one NAD as well as 3 ATP. And we all know how much we need ATP to produce energy. We need it 100%. And next up, one of Layne Norton's favorite ingredients, rhodiola extract. And so what this does is it reduces the rating of perceived exertion, as in it makes the exercise feel easier. And not only that, it also increases explosive power. And so if you're using this product, you'll not be able to put out more power. It'll actually feel easier. And who doesn't want that? And next up, this ingredient's going to put you in a better mood. It's also very safe. It's known as saffron extract. This is better than, for example, 5-HTP. And the reason for this is it improves the serotonin levels in the brain, but not in the body. And this is exactly what you want. And one more thing, and those of you who are overweight, which is most of you watching this, you might want to know is saffron can actually decrease your appetite. And so unless you're bulking, well, saffron can help you to potentially lose weight. And remember, anyone taking a pre-workout, because it has stimulants in it, for example, caffeine, that is automatically going to reduce your appetite. When I go to the gym, I am never hungry. While
you need relatively high doses of caffeine for it to actually affect your appetite. So how much caffeine is in this stupid shit?
I'd beat us in a cage small fry.
I doubt it. I'm probably twice your size, but thanks for the donation, Harold Barton. Pump pre-workout daily driver, hardcore stim, is that it? No, that's a different... Yeah, this is it. Caffeine. Yeah, so it only has 100 milligrams of caffeine per scoop. You really have to get close to like 300 for it to really affect your appetite, you'd have to take like 3 scoops of this.
Training, I could be there for 3 hours. I'm not hungry while training. Perhaps it's the caffeine, the saffron, a mix of everything. But if you're taking this product, probably going to reduce your appetite. And unless you're bulking, this is something that people want. And so let's first talk about caffeine. Now, one thing you should know is that there's 3 scoops, 1, 2, or 3 scoops. I'm never going to take 3 scoops. 2 scoops for me is more than enough.
A single dose of 300 milligrams of caffeine is pretty damn high. You're only supposed to take 500 milligrams over the course of an entire day.
Enough. And so please be careful. Don't do like the Trend twins and end up in the hospital and post something that says killed by caffeine. We don't want that to happen. Clearly the Trend twins are with us, but of course, going to the hospital, it's not something you want from overdoing caffeine and or various stimulants. And aside from the caffeine, which has 100 milligrams per scoop, and so if you do 3 scoops, that's 300 milligrams, there's also theobromine, caffeine's cousin, 1, 2, or 300 milligrams. This is also going to be a potent stimulator, but it's also going to increase the pumps of the body. And so remember, it's not just 300 milligrams of caffeine that's going to stimulate you for your workout. Theobromine also going to have you more amped up than freaking last time. And if you're like me, you're taking pre-workout before doing cardio, you're going for runs, cycling, warm up, whatever, it's also a potent bronchial dilator. And so it makes it easier to breathe. You get in more oxygen, going to make your cardio easier.
Doucette is definitely more jacked. He's shorter and more compact. Just cause you weigh 270 and are more of a fat ass doesn't mean you're more ripped. You eating Cheetos doesn't mean you can take Conor McGregor in a fight. Take off your shades, small fry.
Okay, sure. I'll take your word for it. Thanks for the donation, Harold Barton.
Easier than last time, and who doesn't want that? Even Sam Sulek tells you, please do your cardio. 30 minutes, 5 times a week. That gives you 150 minutes of cardio a week. The minimum recommended amount to be healthy by the American Cardiac Association and Coach Greg. Coach Greg. And so next ingredient is L-theanine. This is going to increase your focus in the gym. You're in the gym and you want to really kill those weights, attack the weights. This is going to allow you to hammer down, stop looking to your left and the right with all the girls is your pumps more than friggin' last time. At least more than 2.0.
There was a recent meta-analysis looking at this, and the effect size was actually pretty impressive for power.
It was like 5% or something. It was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah. Really impressive. 5%, which, I mean, like, that's the difference between first and last if you're talking about the Olympics, you know?
And of course, we still have L-citrulline, 3, 6, and 9 grams. That's 9,000 milligrams. And of course, we have beta-alanine, one of the most underrated performance-enhancing products you can take at 4 grams, 4,000 milligrams in 3 scoops. And
yeah, that would make you itchy as fuck.
next up, a sexy, don't get me canceled, new ingredient, Vasodrive. Can I say it's sexy or am I going to get canceled? And no Vasodrive AP, I don't mean this to be derogatory. I don't actually want to have sexy time with you. I'm not looking you in that way. I'm saying sexy, but I don't mean it in that sense. You know, I called Mike Thurston delicious a number of times. Doesn't mean I'm after Mike Thurston. But what I am after is Vasodrive AP. You know I want you Vasodrive. And so what this is a protein / peptide that's just going to increase your pumps. We don't want to overcomplicate things. And another ingredient we added, vitamin C. I didn't think we needed, but apparently the research says it's more important than last time. And so we got 500, 1,000, 1,500 of vitamin C, which allows the sodium nitrate to work better than last time.
So I guess we can't just eat fruit.
Time. And so next up is betaine. We've added this, of course, it can increase your pumps, increase your strength, your endurance, and so very good supplement to have in any pre-workout. Next up, L-tyrosine, a precursor to dopamine, gonna have you more energy, gonna have you feeling better than last time. And of course, subscribe.
Let's finish the Frank vids.
Comprised of mostly of acorns that gives the meat this really special color and flavor. Up next, we have our beef pastrami and beef bacon, all the highest quality grass-fed pasture-raised meats. These are prepared in the same way with the organic cure and high-quality smoke. In the freezer, our Iberico sausages are back in stock. This is our raw breakfast sausage. Then we have a plain smoked Iberico sausage with only salt added. And what's special is our beef collagen sausage. is now smoked as well.
Someone gifted me a membership. Now I can save that $7.99 money for a double quarter pounder meal with cheese.
Yeah, hopefully you choke on it. Thanks for the donation going, Anders.
I'm helping someone quit smoking. It's the first day, we got lots of gum. Any advice?
Nicotine patches or lozenges are very effective. So, I wouldn't recommend the nicotine gum because it contains gelatin, so it's not vegan friendly. But lozenges and patches are highly effective. Other than that, it just takes a lot of willpower and stick-to-itedness. So I'm not an expert when it comes to dealing with addiction. You may be able to find better resources online for strategies for overcoming like nicotine addiction, but yeah, that's the extent of my knowledge. Lozenges and patches do seem to be very effective. And also just having a stick-to-it sort of mindset. But thanks for the donation, Street Vegan.
If you want to add some delicious sourdough flavor and nutrition to your pancakes, you just need whatever pancake recipe you prefer. This is the collagen pancake
Sourdough tastes like shit.
Recipe that we did last weekend on my YouTube channel. And you just take 1 teaspoon, tablespoon, just a little bit of your sourdough starter and you add it in. And then you need to let this sit overnight. But do not add sugar to the recipe until the morning because the sourdough culture is going to eat up all of the sugar. So what we want to do is develop the sourdough flavors, the bacteria, the fermentation, and then after we have all of that, we can add the sugar back in the morning. Then in the morning when it's nice and fermented, you can add your sugar. I add about a tablespoon and you guys will be able to see that, you know, it rose a little from the fermentation process, so you're kind of knocking it down, but
why in the fuck would you do this?
Then it's ready to cook. All the ingredients, guys, are on.
Well, that's retarded.
Pseudoscience support. Away from the Keys wants to know, how do you define pseudoscience? So pseudoscience refers to beliefs or practices that appear scientific on the surface, but they lack the repeatability, the reliability, or the credibility of science. At It's Synecdoche is asking, why am I only just learning that chiropractors are not real doctors? Yeah. So chiropractic is a $15 billion industry, and it was invented by a guy named D.D. Palmer who thought that ghosts were telling him to create it. They believe that the joints and the nerves that go through our body are the cause of every ailment that we know of. Unfortunately, chiropractic is a full-on pseudoscience. There are certain chiropractors that maybe stay in the lane of more physical therapy, and there's a little bit of data to suggest that for certain types of low back pain, chiropractic adjustment can offer temporary relief, but it's not fixing a musculoskeletal problem, and it's definitely not doing the other things that chiropractors claim to do. So if you see the abbreviation DC after someone's name on social media, that means that they're a chiropractor and they're not a medical or scientific.
I had a one-night stand with Richard last night. We both enjoyed each other's sausages.
Guts not.
I deny that ever happened, but thanks for the donation, Frank Tufano.
Guts wants to know, how the f did the vaccines cause autism myth even start? This myth started in 1998 because of a British gastroenterologist named Andrew Wakefield, who has since lost his medical license and the ability to practice medicine, but he published a paper in The Lancet, which is a very prestigious medical journal, and claimed that he had data to demonstrate a link between the MMR vaccine, which is the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, and autism symptoms in children. The problem was he falsified all of the data in that paper. More than that, he used self-reports from parents who were planning to sue the existing manufacturers of the MMR vaccine. On top of that, he was trying to sell and market his own MMR vaccine, but because it was published in such prestigious medical journal, it took the world by storm and caused a lot of fear. Eventually, that paper was retracted, but that retraction did not occur until 2010, 12 years later. Now, in recent years, we're seeing measles rates above what we have ever seen in the US, and it is really a cause for concern because the very first measles vaccine was put on the market in 1963. So we have over 60 years of data that demonstrate that there is no relationship between vaccines and autism. At 10,000 Problems wants to know, why does homeopathic medicine work so much better than real medicine? Unfortunately, that is not the case, but let me tell you a little bit about what homeopathy is, because it's often confused with other sorts of alternative remedies. Homeopathy is a pseudoscience that was created or invented in the 1700s by a German guy named Samuel Hahnemann. He created this based on two beliefs. The first is that like cures like, meaning that if something causes a symptom, that same substance can cure an ailment that creates that symptom. Onion causes watery eyes when you cut it. Therefore, homeopathic onion is going to cure things like allergies that also cause watery eyes. But that goes along with the second belief, or the law of infinitesimals, meaning that the remedy becomes more potent the more it is diluted. If you find a label on a homeopathic remedy that says 12C, C means 100, and 12 means that you've diluted the substance 12 times 100-fold over, which means you have one part in this many parts, which is also called 1 septillion. So what that means is that there's no actual active ingredient in that. That is probably a good thing, because there are many homeopathic remedies that can be very dangerous if you would ingest them at normal dosage. For example, teething tablets that claim to have homeopathic belladonna, which is deadly nightshade, were contaminated with measurable levels of belladonna, and hundreds of babies developed seizures, and at least 10 babies died. This happened starting in 2010 and 2012, and there were several brands that were to blame. One final danger of homeopathy is that many people believe that they're taking something that's beneficial, and beyond the fact that it is nothing more than a sugar pill, it often leads people to forego actual medical care, which is one of the biggest harms of all. At PaulMeta555 asks, are cell phone towers detrimental to our health? Why so many? Why do they emit high-pitched noises? Are they carcinogenic? Why the spike in cancer rates since they arrived? Cell phone towers look like this. You have this primary node that's coming out from all sides, and you have these radio waves that are being emitted. You also have these secondary nodes that are a little bit smaller, but all of these radio frequency waves are projected in every direction, because otherwise we wouldn't have cell reception. So this myth kind of started because people heard the word radio frequency radiation and got scared, because we know that there are certain types of radiation that are linked to cancer. Here we have the electromagnetic spectrum. Things on this end are very high energy, and this rainbow right here is our visible light spectrum. Ultraviolet and above, these types of radiation can potentially damage our cells in our body and can lead to changes in our cells and mutations. But when you get below the energy level of visible light and you get into infrared and microwaves, way down here, those are your radio waves. So this radio frequency radiation is one of the lowest energy types of radiation, and it's considered what we call non-ionizing, meaning it cannot penetrate your body. So even if those radio waves are
No, it can penetrate your body. The issue is it doesn't break down protein bonds. That's a bit of misinformation.
Are all over our planet because we have cell reception everywhere. The amount of energy that they're exerting is not actually going to damage your body or cause you any potential harm. At John Peterson FW wants to know, I'd really like to know from someone that actually knows if buying organic food for double the price is actually worth it / better for you. The biggest misconception is that organic is pesticide free. Here we have organic blueberries. They are grown using organic pesticides, and organic pesticides are simply chemicals that have not been synthetically altered from the original state in which they exist somewhere in nature. In contrast, these are conventional blueberries who were grown using conventional pesticides. Conventional pesticides are those that can be synthetically altered in order to improve their specificity. A 2010 study in PLOS One was looking at 6 different pesticides that are used to control aphids on soybean plants. It was found to not only control aphids, but it also killed the natural predators of the aphids, the insidious flower bug and the Asian lady beetle, having a more broad negative ecological impact. Another misconception about all produce is that they have all these residues of pesticides on them. We're talking about parts per trillion, parts per billion. These are minuscule levels. If you're very concerned about it, absolutely wash your produce in water. But aside from that, you don't need to be stressing about your produce.
Based. Lyme disease, non-fluoridated toothpaste, gluten-friendly, reliable study, artificial sweeteners.
At Wishwell Therapy wants to know, study after study has revealed that aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin lead to cancer and other disorders of the cells and organ. Saccharin was actually banned temporarily in the US because there was thought to be a relationship between saccharin and bladder cancer. It turns out that the studies they were using a type of rat. These rats had a genetic predisposition that they developed these bladder crystals and made them more likely to develop tumors. Not only were we using rats that were not an appropriate or realistic research model, these rats were being fed close to 10% of their body weight per day in saccharin. And it was at that point that a proportion of the male rats developed bladder cancers. Follow-up studies using rhesus macaques, mice, and looking at human data have demonstrated that saccharin is not related to cancer in humans at all, and so the ban was lifted. But ultimately, that stigma related to saccharin has actually transferred to other artificial sweeteners. At Flyrodu,
That was a good video. Let's see. Leo, longevity, pig brain. I don't think I want to watch that.
Good for her.
And yeah, it's wild. Because
that's
if
for
you
sure.
had have told me when we got married that one day you'd just be eating meat, I think you'd die from that. You need vegetables, you need fruits.
Yeah,
you need all
right.
sorts
No,
of
you
things.
don't. I know. It's weird. It's hard to believe.
So she was on a ton of medication.
All these people on the carnivore diet are just lying. They're not only eating just skeletal muscle tissue, like literally just steak. They're eating other foods, maybe occasionally, but they are eating other foods. Otherwise, you would see much higher rates of scurvy in these carnivore dieters.
And like hospitalized all the time, couldn't figure it out. And then, yeah, after about 3 months, it was like no more meds at all.
Wow.
And I said this before we were recording, but she reassures me, like, I'm not doing this to be cool. I really don't want to eat like this. But when she doesn't, so she had a bit of chicken, had a little bit of soy on it. She was sick for a week in bed. Is that kind of like yourself or?
Close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough. A lot of things that were wrong with me have disappeared. Things that were very long standing. Things that don't heal. I had gum disease, which never heals. It's 100% gone, and it was very serious. And that's a marker for cardiovascular inflammation, right? It's not just, some trivial problem with your teeth. Not that that's trivial, because it's
by the way, vegans have lower rates of gum disease.
not. But that's not curable, and it's gone 100%. Took about 3.
Have you heard anything from Tofurky Tom about his ferret video? I'm waiting for ages now. Maybe ask him again.
Yeah, I messaged him the other day about it, and he said other projects have taken priority because there's been like big news about celebrity allegations and stuff. So he had to cover that first, but he says he is still planning on making the video. Thanks for the donation though, Tipped.
3 years. Long time.
So how long have you been doing carnivore?
Oh, 7 years.
My goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you still miss food?
Of course. Yeah, it's very restricted. Yeah. Most things I don't miss. I miss dairy and
that's what,
like sugar. Sweet. I miss sweet ice cream, for example, has been a real problem.
So that's what she knows she needs to cut out now, because she's been doing steak and sticks of butter in hot water.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fucking disgusting.
And then I think she needs to cut out the milk, because that's the...
Could be.
Yeah. But this brings us to an interesting point, because I mentioned that 10 years ago, if you had said this is a viable diet, no one would have believed you. Here's the point. In the internet...
Just shows you what we know about nutrition. All the nutrition science is rubbish. All of it. Partly because...
Right, all the nutrition science is rubbish. I have something better called Trust Me, Bro.
They don't ever do randomized trials. Like, so how can you
They do randomized trials in nutrition studies, so that is false.
You can see what people eat, you can correlate with an outcome. It's completely useless. It's completely misleading. You have no idea because there's nothing controlled.
You don't need a control. So this is ridiculous. There is a 90% concordance with epidemiological studies and randomized trials. 90% concordance. So the idea that you'd need a randomized trial with a control group in order to have a reliable finding is complete bullshit. If that were true, you probably wouldn't see a 90% concordance. Secondly, there's huge drawbacks to randomized trials. They can't go on for nearly as long. So randomized trials will typically only last for several weeks or several months. They're not going to have decades worth of follow-up with which is what you can do with prospective cohorts. So you might be able to find correlations with certain biomarkers. With some randomized trials that go on for long enough, you may have enough of an ability to find correlations with some hard outcomes like all-cause mortality, depending on how long the randomized trial goes for. But if you want a robust amount of data for hard health outcomes, so all-cause mortality, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, myocardial infarction, shit like that, you're going to need prospective cohorts.
People who eat more beef have more heart disease. It's like, yeah, what else are they doing? Well, 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why they control for those factors, you idiot.
Well, how do you control for all 1,000? Well, you do random assignation to group. It's the only way to control it.
That's not true.
No other way.
So you can have adjustments in the data. This guy doesn't understand how epidemiology works.
Correlational studies are useless. They're useless, and there's hundreds of them.
Oh, correlational studies are useless. So why is it every time I see you post on Twitter about some new nutrition study that proves, oh, saturated fat is good for you, oh, red meat isn't harmful, it's an epidemiological study? It's because you're an idiot and you have no epistemic standards.
And the idea that you need fiber, it's like, no, you don't. That's wrong.
Yeah, that's right. You don't need fiber. You don't have to, take nice shits that don't scratch your asshole. You don't need to live long. You don't need fiber. Those are all things you don't need.
And are plants necessary? Doesn't appear to be. You can live on meat.
You can live on Twinkies. Human beings are like rats. You can find people who eat nothing but fucking potato chips their entire life. What does that mean to you?
Carbohydrates, there's no recommended daily allowance for carbohydrates. 0. There's no recommended daily allowance. You don't need them. They're not vital.
Yeah, that's right. You don't need energy. Again, you don't need to live long. People who eat about 40 to 60% of their calories from carbohydrates tend to live longer. So you don't need to live long. You don't need energy. You don't need to be able to actually exercise. Carbohydrates are also important for testosterone production. Yeah, you can be hypogonadal. That's right. You can be unhealthy and stupid.
So can you run on protein metabolism? Yes. Does your brain prefer it? Yes. Does it reduce?
Your brain does not prefer protein metabolism. Your brain does not run on protein. Your brain runs on glucose. The only way your brain is going to get energy on a zero carbohydrate diet is by either converting protein into glucose or by using ketones.
Reduce seizure activity? That's been known for a century. So,
yeah,
I talked to a psychiatrist at McLean's Hospital, so that's the premier psychiatric institute in the U.S. He's starting a treatment center at McLean's based on essentially on a carnivore diet to treat endogenous depression.
That is not true.
Right, so that.
Notice the wording. What is essentially a carnivore diet? So it's not a carnivore diet.
It's depression that has no obvious stress-related cause, manic depressive disorder, and schizophrenia. I have never believed those were psychological diseases. I thought, no, there's something wrong. Especially.
I'm sorry. He believed depression and schizophrenia were not psychological diseases? What the fuck is he talking about?
With schizophrenia and manic depressive disorder. Well, depression too, for that matter. We know that it's.
This is VG's anthem.
I'm vegan.
Yeah, that's my theme song. Thanks for the donation, Fohammer.
Associated with inflammation. That's been known for a long time. So he thinks they're metabolic diseases, and he thinks he can treat them with the carnivore diet. So there are serious people taking a look at this. And then there's all the, people say, well, anecdotes aren't data. It's like, fair enough, but when you have like 2,000 or 3,000 of them, they're suggestive of a hypothesis.
That's right.
Okay, notice the double standard. Epidemiology is useless. Oh, anecdotes, those are actually useful for something. So, trust me, bro, is higher up on the evidence hierarchy than large-scale prospective cohorts with tens of thousands of participants with decades worth of follow-up. Oh, okay.
You're going to derive your hypotheses from observation.
Yeah. When I interviewed my wife and we talked about her carnivore diet, you're used to getting people snarky and contradicting in the comment section. You know, that's where people go to do that sort of thing. But I'd say 99% of people who had the exact same story as her.
Yeah. Well, and I've met literally hundreds of people on my tour. They show me pictures. I lost 150 pounds in 1 year. Like they're shell shocked, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I started it, I lost 50 pounds in 7 months. And I had gone for a year before that. I ate no sugar and I didn't lose an ounce. Nothing. Which was very disappointing,
Yes, that's because of caloric exchange. If you just simply eliminate macronutrients from your diet, you are likely going to compensate by eating more of the macronutrients you aren't restricting. Weight loss works by restricting calories, which seems to be something Jordan Peterson doesn't understand.
I didn't gain any weight, but I didn't lose it, and I'd gained weight. People gain weight as they age, pound a year, let's say. Well, over 40 years, I was about 50 pounds heavier than I am now. It all disappeared in 7 months. It was shocking. I have the same physique that I did when I was 25. It's like, that's pretty good. I'm 60.
If you had the same physique now as when you were 25, you were a weak bitch. This guy says, as a frail 60-year-old man, he looks the same as when he was 25. You were a weak fucking beta male.
I gained muscle mass. It's ridiculous.
So I did it for the month of January, and I gave up. Even though I felt better, I could recall things faster. I decided I don't need to do this. I don't want to do it. So I don't want to be optimal. Was basically what I concluded, because I would rather have a beer every now and again or something else. Yeah. But I actually got really sick of meat. In the beginning, I loved it. Absolutely, as red as you can get it. And then I had this, I don't know what they call it, like meat phobia, meat fatigue. I don't know. I got to a point where the idea of eating meat was disgusting.
Yes, eating meat is disgusting. It's dead, rotting flesh.
Did you go through that?
No, I wouldn't say so. I've been fortunate to not have that happen. That kind of happened to Michaela, my daughter, when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
But, people's food preferences tend to change dramatically when they're pregnant. So God only knows what that means. No, I don't get tired of meat. And
Great.
The diet could be worse. I could be eating nothing but porridge.
Yes.
If you have to eat one thing.
Yeah. Steak will do.
Well, right.
Massive thanks to Hallow.
Well, that was dumb. But it's Jordan Peterson. What do you expect?
Learned about anti-Semitism literally stems from this. An anti-Semitic text purported to describe a Jewish plan to achieve global domination and to document the minutes of a late 19th century meeting attended by world Jewish leaders, the elders of Zion, conspiring to take over the world. It is the Brothers Grimm of anti-Semitism, yes. Like, it is where dude, right there, like, that right there is straight.
No. Anti-Semitism is ancient. The Romans were fucking anti-Semites. The Muslims were anti-Semites. This sort of shit has been going on for thousands of years.
Straight up, and it was like mass delivered to any fascist who would listen. This is why I do personally believe that while Nazi Germany, the Third Reich, fell apart and Nazi Germany lost in World War II, fascism absolutely won. Fascism as an ideology, as an ideological tool, was immediately we love taking up the mantle of all of that nonsense. We absolutely have genuinely continued that tradition, both in our domestic affairs.
Does Hassan think fascism was invented in Nazi Germany? Fascism has been pervasive all throughout human history.
Certainly and absolutely when it comes to our international enforcement. Have you seen what is going on in Germany? I have. You know what? I'm actually going to point to this right now. I wanted to show you something very funny. Nathan Tankis went to the closed screening of The Commandant's Shadow last night, where he had by far the most disturbing experience was the Auschwitz commandant Rudolf Höss's grandson, Kai Höss, and his Christian evangelism for Israel. If you want to understand where we're at, if you want to understand where Germany's vibes are at, there's two videos I want to show you. One is like the liberal rich Germans also chanting the Germany for Germans only. And the other video is this. Here, let's help you get it a little bit. This is the guy. This is the grandson of the dude who was prominently featured in Zone of Interest. Rudolf Höss. Okay, let's see what he had to say about Israel.
Have a moment. Sure you can, of course.
Or the ramp. Is that better? Yeah, the ramp in the back.
I commend you on taking on your grandfather's legacy, and not legacy, but facing it.
I understand.
But I find listening to you very, very concerning. Because it feels to me, as a grandchild of Holocaust survivors, that you've replaced a Nazi anti-Semitism with a Christian evangelical anti-Semitism about defined going to.
I think you misunderstood.
I don't think I misunderstood.
Well, I love Israel because I know they're God's people.
Yeah, exactly. That is a form of anti-Semitism. Christian evangelism.
He said, "I love Israel because they are God's chosen."
Stitching No Fap donated $2 classic. Let me see.
Linda.
Wouldn't that suck if it actually worked that way? Thanks for the donation, Stitching NoFap.
Some people, you don't understand it. You don't understand. It was shocking just being in the room with Rudolph Hess's grandson, let alone confronting him. I was my dad's +1, and neither of us realized beforehand. I'm still processing it. There were also many disturbing things about the event, including that it was acquired on October 9th. The panel was very clear this documentary was explicitly meant to counter discussions of Israel's genocide without actually mentioning Palestinians. The movie literally opens and closes with Rudolph Hess's son and grandson in an Israeli desert with Kai Huss providing Israel voiceover. Compare what Kai Huss had to say up to what Billy Graham had to say behind closed doors. Kai Huss knows that he should never say synagogue of Satan about Jews like me who reject Israel, but it's fundamentally the same worldview. It's from the Nixon tapes. Nixon explains how Israeli Jews are the best Jews. They both agree that Jews control the media. Billy Graham explains the synagogue of Satan and how Jews had a stranglehold on Germany, but Hitler went about it wrong.
The only path to Nutella is so chunky and baby. Also, what's your take on alkaline diet? Foods that are typically considered alkaline are usually better for you, so fruits and vegetables. The problem is you cannot change your body's pH. It is highly regulated. Your kidneys regulate your body's pH. So, there is nothing you can do. No diet will alter the pH balance of your body. But thanks for the donation, The Only Path.
Come here. Squig.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh my god. He has a little baby Hyrax. That's amazing. Oh my goodness. How do you get a Hyrax?
Take a little.
Oh my goodness, that's a good duck. Wow, so handsome. Wow. Oh my goodness, is that a swan? Wow. That is some whack shit. Do they just not care if they die or something?
Know that this was an R-rated movie when you brought him?
Yes, we did.
Are you sorry you brought him?
Yes, I am.
Are you glad you saw it? Yeah. Are you sorry, sir, that you brought your son along to see Alien?
No, ma'am, I think he should have seen it. It's something that he needs to know that things like that could happen in life. That could be a true story.
Alien could be a true story. Traveling in an interstellar spaceship where you encounter an alien life form is something that could happen, and my child needs to know about this danger. What the fuck?
Based on, science. We never know what's going on the outside of the world.
Did the movie scare you at all?
Yes, ma'am, it did. We take him to see a lot of horror pictures and things like because we like horror movies. We're horror buffs, I guess.
Would you recommend to your little friends who are your age to go see it?
No, I wouldn't.
Did you know?
Okay, well, those are very interesting Midwesterners. Thanks for the donation, The Only Path.
It does mean that most Jews are left-wing, particularly the younger ones like that.
I love that they're literally just repeating exactly what the Nazis believed and basically saying, no, you don't understand. Like, all Jews, they go to Israel and that's fine. And they're great. They're great over there. Okay. Not here. Because when they're here, a lot of them like this commie shit. Okay. and I don't like it. They are literally repeating Judeo-Bolshevism as a propaganda point because they legitimately believe it. And they're not technically.
By the way, doesn't Hassan complain about Israel like having so many lobbyists in government? Like, he's criticizing Nixon and shit for repeating Nazi propaganda, and then he repeats Nazi propaganda with this bullshit about Israel having stranglehold over the U.S. government.
Wrong. Historically speaking, yes, Jews have sided with justice. They have, in many instances, been open socialists and communists. So they're not wrong.
Oh my god. What a fucking idiot. This is also literally Nazi propaganda. Jews were blamed for communism because of people like Karl Marx. And now Hassan, while criticizing people for spreading Nazi propaganda, he is now spreading Nazi propaganda.
Wrong when they say that. Obviously, they're wrong in a monolithic understanding of it, which they're not even particularly saying. It is wild. Here, listen. They're radical socialists. They're radical commies. Added to the mountain of evidence that anti-communism is inherently fascist? Of course. Of course it is. Wow, I wonder why the Jews in Russia were...
Anti-communism is fascist? Tell that to the fucking, 40 to 80 million people who died in fucking communist China.
More in favor of the socialists than the czarists in Russia. Exactly. The best Jews are actually the Israeli Jews.
They are the Israeli Jews. That's right. Because Israel, and the reason Mrs. Mayer supports me, which she does, and Diane does too, is for a very fundamental reason. It has nothing to do with, they know these Democratic candidates will be catering to the domestic Jews.
Yeah, Michelle, Jewish is an ethno-religion. You can be ethnically Jewish and also be a religiously practicing Jew. So Karl Marx was Jewish.
Jewish folk, she supports me because she knows the great danger to Israel.
Bah ha 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 ah, you think talking about Israeli lobbies is propaganda? Man, you literally have a child's background in Israel. Do us a favor and look up how much AIPAC gives to the US. Look up how much lobby money Biden has received from Israel lobby.
How much does AIPAC give to US? Let's see. Lobbying. 2024. Under $1 million. 2023. 3 million. So, basically nothing. You're telling me $3 million is enough to pay off the American government? Are you, like, retarded? Are you... Do your parents know they have your credit card? Yeah, 3 million in 2023. Well, okay. I guess if I win the lottery, I can get Barack Obama or, Biden to do whatever I want. Dodo donated $2. Okay, just a second.
Remember that video of Piers Morgan and the smirking Iranian professor? Look at the retarded comment section. That usually doesn't happen on a Piers video on the topic. Compare that to the BBC video comments on the crash. www.youtube.com/watch?v=p7ixbkvnzrm.
Iranian talks about crimes of Western government, but Pierce talks about how to dress women in Iran. It's good to see how Pierce represents and exposes the totality of the arrogance and superiority complex Western civilization towards other civilizations. Pierce could not take off his clothes even if he wanted to. Why does this has to be
Israel and you.
I'm just wondering if some of these people are like Iranian bots.
Israel.
Okay, some of these people are like Middle Eastern, for sure. Yeah, that's really weird. That's unusual. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Where was I with the donations? Oh yeah. Or sorry. Stitching No Fap gave me that dono. Thanks, Stitching No Fap. Dodo donated $2. Okay, we're only like 2 months away from the election. Trump is winning massively in all the swing state polls. The Israel-Gaza conflict does not look like it'll end by then, so young people won't vote for Biden. It is not looking good for Biden at all, I'm honest. Well, the only saving grace out of all of this is if Trump gets elected, Gaza is going to be burnt to the fucking ground. Trump is very, very extremely pro-Israel, and he fucking hates Muslims. So all these fucking retarded crybabies who said, I'm not going to vote for Biden because I care about Palestinian people. Well, they're going to have a president who's going to send all the military aid that Israel wants. He's not going to pressure them at all to do any humanitarian work. And, yeah, those fucking terrorists are all going to burn down to the fucking ground. So we can at least all take solace in that. Dodo donated $2. Can you react, please? TikTokers are now trying to make nihilism trendy. Okay, here's an idiot who doesn't understand moral realism. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. We'll react to that.
Yeah, that's cute. They lobby Congress people, dumbass.
Let's see, Biden, 5 million, money from pro-Israel to U.S. senators. So this isn't money just going into their pockets. This is money that they use for political contributions, I'm assuming. But this isn't actual lobbying money. So again, if you pay Joe Biden $5 million, he'll do whatever you want. Okay, so if I win the lottery, so it's, I think 54 million tomorrow that I'm gonna win, I can just pay Joe Biden $5 million and get him to do whatever I want. If I pay him 10 million, let's say double what Israel's giving him, does that mean, like, I can get Joe Biden to sell, like, nuclear weapons to Israel and then blow up Gaza? Okay, good. Thanks for the donation, Quest. Dodo donated $2. If Trump wins in 2024, would you rather he actually had won in 2020 instead, and therefore wouldn't have been able to run in 2024. Because now, if he wins, he may preside over China invading Taiwan more likely than ever and other major issues of the time. I'm not so sure. Some of these things might have just happened faster under a Trump presidency. So, China may have just decided to invade earlier. I know Russia certainly would have been massively advantaged with a Trump presidency, so I don't know if this works out for the better or not. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Stitching NoFap donated $2. It seems like the Iranian government sent an army to that video. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It sounds like it's Iranian bot accounts that they, sent to that video. It's just so weird. Thanks for the donation, dude.
I know you struggle with the translator, but you gotta give him a chance here. This has to be in his top 5 funniest videos. You seem to be in a good mood today. You can handle his insanity.
This guy is a retard.
Madness. Madness. Omar Isaf.
Why does this guy put the camera, like, right at his face? I don't really want to see the wart right here.
Weren't there. Me neither. Nobody of us can even imagine what it was to be a Spartan. We all are pussies.
That is not how you do deadlifts.
But we have the possibility not to be a total pussy. Like Omar.
Yeah, you're right, they give people millions to win their runnings for funsies. And they just happen to the largest recipient of US aid, totally not because they get pro-Israeli peeps selected. Like Biden saying he's a Zio no matter what, just a coincidence.
What are Biden's largest political donors? Biden campaign replenished that money and then some, raising $43.8 million versus Trump's campaign $15.3. Who is Biden's top political donor? Future Forward, USA Action, $9 million. Greylock Partners, $9 million. Newsweb Corp, $5 million. Their APAC isn't even one of the top, like, they're technically one of the top donors, but there are people who are beating APAC by a wide margin. So again, you're telling me I can just make Biden do whatever I want if I just give him $5 million? Like, you're a fucking retard. Thanks for the donation quest.
Is, and I'm not hating. I'm just saying. You have a lot of money. Omar Isaf on the History Channel talking about Spartans. Actually not talking, but reading some fake natural script that not even he wrote. I wouldn't be surprised if there in the script would be mentioned some transsexuals. To me, Omar Isaf does look like a transsexual, actually. You know, how can you recognize the transsexual? They are rolling their eyes. You know, a man does not roll the eyes unless it's for acting purposes, like I do sometimes. But he does that, like these girls that take testosterone. And by the way, I cannot watch them because their voice.
Why does this guy look so sad and defeated before he's about to lift weights?
Are pretty disgusting to me. They sound like farts. So if you are planning to transition, don't do this. Stays in woman's body. I would do that because the true man would never.
So this guy doesn't know how to deadlift.
Shoulders.
Okay, I've heard enough of that.
One of the hit songs on social media right now, especially TikTok, of course, is a nihilistic ode to the supposedly meaningless nature of our empty and pointless lives. And I know you're probably thinking, wait, isn't that literally every pop song that's been made over the past 35 years? And yes, you're right. The difference is that this song is much more explicit, and I would even say, arguably, perhaps eloquent in its nihilism. The song is from TikTok singer Ian McConnell, and it was posted, or it seems...
What's the song called?
Ian McConnell, and it was posted. The song is from TikTok singer Ian McConnell, and it was posted, or it seems posted again, actually, only a week ago. It already has nearly 2 million views, tens of thousands of shares, and thousands of very supportive comments. This is in spite of the fact, or probably more...
Does he actually show the song? Yeah.
Musical. Listen.
I'm pretty sure that life doesn't have a meaning. And if there's a God, then he doesn't look like me. And I'm just a member of the current apex species. But there'll be another when the humans go extinct. We've only been around 200,000 years of 13.5 billion years. How can we think the pinnacle is here? Isn't that arrogant? There's a couple 100 billion trillion suns, and we act like it all was made for us. There ain't no way that we're the only ones. I'm not important, and neither are you. So let's do whatever we wanna do. Bask in our cosmic insignificance. Soak up this blip we're living in, 'cause nothing matters anyway. Isn't that great?
So there you go. It's a great song if you want to lament your very existence in a cheerful kind of way. As I said, the song...
Why does anything have to have a meaning for you to enjoy it?
Seems to have struck a chord on social media. That's no surprise, as nihilism is the dominant worldview in our culture. The belief that life has no inherent...
That is not true. Most people are not nihilists.
...meaning is shared by millions of people in our country, especially in the younger generations. Now, anyone, in fact, anyone we would call a leftist is a nihilist by definition.
No. This guy clearly doesn't know what nihilism is.
And many more that we would not call leftists are also nihilists, whether they know it or not. Recently, a new twist on this belief system has emerged, although, like most new things, it's not really new at all. It's called optimistic nihilism. And TikTok is full of explainers on this particular brand of nihilism, a brand that already has its theme song, as we just heard. So here's this random woman explaining what optimistic nihilism...
It's a long shot, but let me try. You don't seem to understand what how do you even spell nihilism? Nihilism. Does it begin with an H after the N? Nihilism. You don't seem to understand what nihilism is, and you also seem...
Where do I find bad bitch vegan girls who are into trannies?
Bad bitch vegan girls who are into trannies. I'm not sure. Maybe you could check Grindr. Thanks for the donation, vegan tranny. You don't seem to understand what nihilism is, and you also seem to be confused on what moral anti-realism is. If you would be interested, I'd love to have you on my channel to have a debate on moral realism. So far, I have not heard one single argument in favor. Well, I've heard arguments, but they're not logically valid. So far, I have not heard one logically valid argument in favor of moral realism. And I'd be interested to hear your take.
Listen.
Have you ever heard of the phrase optimistic nihilism? No? Well, let me rewind just a little bit. Nihilism itself is the belief that nothing has any meaning in this life. Life is meaningless and without purpose. Honestly, it's like a little bit of a buzzkill, but when weren't we thinking that in 2020? Now, optimistic nihilism is the belief that if nothing matters, well then, nothing matters. And if nothing matters, then it doesn't matter what you should or shouldn't wear. You wear whatever the you want. If nothing matters, then whatever those bullies said to you in high school, it doesn't matter. And if nothing matters, why do we care what society thinks or tells us what we should be doing? Why does it matter what our bosses, our enemies, and our family thinks?
There's no such thing as optimistic nihilism. You can either take a lack of meaning to be a good thing or a bad thing. It's entirely how you... everything is just a mindset. So when you say something like nihilism is a good thing, something being good means it has a meaning behind it. There is something true about. There's some sort of truth, moral truth, behind nihilism being a good thing. So if you're saying something like that, you're not a true nihilist.
Only thing that matters is you. And when I stumbled upon this new way of thinking, I felt freed. As someone with chronic people-pleasing problems as well as chronic anxiety, this has been a hard one to learn, but it has been the best thing for me.
Now, I'm not really sure why we have to throw out all meaning, the very concept of meaning itself, in order to arrive at the conclusion that the opinions of bullies in high school don't matter. I arrived at that conclusion about pretty much everyone in high school while I was in high school, and I didn't need to drain the universe of all meaning to do it. But there's something else she said there that may have caught your ear even more. She said, nothing matters except you. Now, that's one hell of a
Then she's not a true nihilist.
Qualifier. But the thing is, nothing matters except me is the mantra of a narcissist. Are narcissism and nihilism the same thing? That would certainly explain why this worldview is so popular, but we'll return to that point in a moment. The first and foremost problem with nihilism is that it's not true. In fact, the universe was made with a purpose in mind, and each of us individually were made with purpose by an all-loving and powerful God who imbues every moment of our lives with more meaning than we could ever comprehend. Life is bursting with meaning. There is meaning everywhere you look.
No, there isn't. So, this is like saying there's beauty everywhere you look. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is beauty is subjective. It's dependent on the mind. Just like meaning. Meaning is dependent on the mind. So meaning is in the eye of the beholder. And if it's in the eye of the beholder, then it's not really real. So if it's entirely dependent on the mind perceiving it, then it's not objective.
And everywhere you don't look. Nothing is meaningless. Everything you do or say brings you closer to God or farther away. And so you have never done or said anything that.
So this sounds like he's a presuppositionalist. I have not heard an argument for how God would create meaning. I debated that Christian guy the other day, and he wasn't able to actually answer my question, how does God create meaning? The only thing he said is God is the ultimate judgment. Well, God can be the ultimate judgment all he wants. It doesn't create objective meaning. If we're gonna say, well, God says so, well, why does God saying so make it objectively true? There's nothing that God can do to make objective meaning. It's just his personal opinion. And I don't know why I'd value the opinion of an all-powerful God. Like what? Because he's bigger than me, he can bully me around and tell me to do things? That means anything he says matters?
It's truly meaningless. So the depressed High School Musical guy says that our lives are meaningless because humans will one day go extinct and haven't been on Earth all that long in the grand scheme, and Earth itself is just one planet orbiting one sun out of the trillions of other planets orbiting trillions of other suns. But even taking his argument on its own terms, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why should the fact that we live for so short a time on such tiny a planet in one solar system out of so many countless solar systems mean that our lives aren't important and don't have meaning? Why shouldn't it?
Questions aren't propositions. So he's not making an argument in favor of moral realism. He's just asking a question. Questions aren't propositions.
Mean it precisely the opposite. Life is short, all the more reason to cherish it deeply. Humanity itself will one day go extinct, all the more miraculous that you got to exist before it does. The universe is incomprehensibly vast and awe-inspiring, all the more amazing is life then.
Yeah, so again, he's not making an argument for, moral propositions being objectively true.
And the fact that you get to be a part of it. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies is the most convenient way to get fruits and veggies every day. They use an advanced cold vacuum process that...
Oh, wow. He's promoting fruit and vegetable intake rather than fucking butcher box.
Never looked up at the sky at night and felt anything like nihilism. To me, that's like looking at a sunset over the ocean and feeling disgust, or looking at a newborn baby and feeling hatred. Like, it's a sickness to feel that way. Something is deeply wrong inside of you. Now, of course, we know that a horrifying number of people have felt something like that last emotion about the baby, so perhaps it is no surprise that the night sky makes them feel...
You know, what's so stupid about this, you can have those exact same feelings if you believe there is meaning. So you can believe in a God. You can believe that God creates objective moral values. And you could have disgust over what you see because you think certain things are meaningful and certain things aren't. So again, this isn't an argument against nihilism. This is just you emotionally pandering, saying like, oh, why would you feel this way?
Feel like life is pointless, when it should inspire them in the opposite direction. But nihilism's falsehood is not even really its biggest problem. Its biggest problem is its dishonesty.
If you have the worldview that God creates all things, would that mean that they don't believe anything is objective because it was all created by the mind of God? No. I think the only way you could maybe possibly think that is if we're like living inside God's mind. So say like when you're having a dream and you encounter other people in your dreams, you're not actually encountering other people, but you're encountering things that are constructed by your own mind. So if God created the universe by just imagining things within his own mind and we're living in his dream, you could make the argument that, yeah, all of existence is subjective on that basis, because it's like within God's mind, I guess. But like if God were to make himself disappear, this would all still be here. So, like rocks and shit would still be floating around in outer space. So whether there's a mind to perceive it or not, it would still be there.
You know, it's one thing to be false. It's another thing to lack the integrity to be honestly false. After all, I guarantee that every single one of these TikTok nihilists, especially the optimistic variety, would very earnestly insist that racism is a major problem, and homophobia is a terrible thing, and quote-unquote transphobia is an epidemic, and the patriarchy must be smashed, and all the rest of it. But if they were really nihilists and really have the courage of their own convictions, they would happily say that racism, homophobia, etc., don't matter any more than life itself.
Yeah, so he's confusing the recognition that nothing matters with the idea that if you recognize that nothing matters, you can't he's thinking that if you are a nihilist and you recognize that nothing objectively matters, that means nothing matters to you personally. Things can matter to you personally. You can value your own life. You can value the lives of others. That doesn't mean you can't have the cognitive capability to actually consciously recognize that nothing matters. Like, this is what existential nihilism is. That there's no objective meaning, but things can matter to you personally.
Self matters. And if life doesn't matter, then who cares about racism? White supremacists could stage a violent overthrow of the country and enslave every racial minority in existence, and it wouldn't matter, because nothing matters. If nothing matters, then nothing matters. You cannot say that nothing matters and then turn around and condemn any form of bigotry, real or imagined, or engage in any kind of activism at all of any sort. Because condemnations and exhortations all rest on the assumption that stuff matters. And if no stuff matters, then there is nothing to condemn and no reason to exhort anyone to do anything or not do anything. Nothing matters, remember? I wonder, what if one of these supposed nihilists heard a conversation like this playing out in the world? Person A says, black people are oppressed in this country. Person B says, doesn't matter. Person A says, what do you mean? Black people are suffering. Person B says, yeah, but black people don't matter. Now, the nihilist must agree with person B. You're not a nihilist if you don't agree.
No. You can have your own personal preferences. Just because you're a nihilist, that doesn't mean you don't have personal preferences.
So, you remember that dipshit Kansas City Chiefs football kicker Harrison Butker who gave that sexist and misogynistic commencement speech? He's breaking his silence and playing the victim.
Oh, that's great.
Clear that the timeless Catholic values are hated by many, it is now. Over the past few days, my beliefs, or what people think I believe, have been the focus of countless discussions around the globe. At the outset, many people expressed a shocking level of hate, but as the days went on, even those who disagreed with my viewpoints shared their support for my freedom of religion. In my 7 years in the NFL, I've become...
Yes, people agree that you should be able to say really retarded, stupid, bigoted shit. That doesn't mean they don't disagree with what you said. Dodo donated $2. This was funny. Let me see. The link you gave me is broken, but thanks for the donation, Dodo.
I'm familiar with the positive and negative comments, but the majority of them revolve around my performance on the field. But as to be expected, the more I've talked about what I value most, which is my Catholic faith, the more polarizing I have become. It's a decision I've consciously made and one I do not regret at all. If we have truth and charity, we should trust in the Lord's providence and let the Holy Ghost do the rest of the work. Our love for Jesus, and thus our desire to speak out, should never be outweighed by the longing of our fallen nature to be loved by the world. Glorifying God and not ourselves should always remain our motivation, despite any pushback or even support. I lean on those closest to me for guidance, but I can never forget.
This guy is a blabbermouth. He has a very punchable face. Thanks for the donation, finger my ass.
So if you claim to be a nihilist, you must wholeheartedly concur with person B's conclusion.
Dodo donated $2. I sent you an archive post. This this, but it's still up, I guess. Look, it's funny. Let me see. These mass shootings happen so much that Ted Cruz really got a template ready to tweet whenever they occur. Fervently lifting up in prayer the children and families in the horrific shooting in Uvalde. Heidi. Fervently lifting up in prayer the children and families in the horrific shooting in Indianapolis, Virginia Beach, Las Vegas, New York, Rochester. This guy's pretty goddamn lazy. That's pretty funny. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
And yet we all know that the shirtless ginger guy with the keyboard sure as hell isn't making a cheerful little tune called Black People Don't Matter anytime soon, or gay people don't matter, or trans people don't matter. Even though he allegedly believes none of these people matter. Their lives don't matter at all. Like, at all. They could not exist. They could all cease to exist. Even a genocide that wiped all of them.
So the only thing this argument does is criticize somebody's own logical consistency. It doesn't actually attack the idea of moral anti-realism.
Them out wouldn't matter at all in the slightest. A genocide of 1 million people is like stepping on a bug. That's the true nihilistic viewpoint. If you don't have that viewpoint, you're not really a nihilist. A real nihilist would have to shrug his shoulders at all that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay, so Matt Walsh is stupid, but we already knew that.
It's right. Now, however, in this country, we must be under no illusion. You're aware of that, aren't you? You're aware of the fact that in the media, we confront almost a solid block of people. They don't, it isn't the action, and he's the point of the thing. They're after him because he took the whole thing on. And it has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. It happens so that insofar as the media is concerned, the power of the media, they've got it. They've got it.
He's like, yeah, the Jews control the media. Oh, man. Also, the Nixon Jew count of July 1971 is the name given to then President of the United States, Richard Nixon's attempts to demote and remove Jews from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Right. And they're the ones putting out pornographic stuff and putting out everything.
Directly. By the way, this is exactly, when I say this is verbatim what the Nazis believed, okay, with the exception of Israel because it didn't exist back then. This is word for word what the Nazis believed and said, bar for bar. Now, you might be shocked and say, but that's Richard Nixon. That seems quite similar to like cultural Marxism and, you know, George Soros propaganda and many other things that right-wingers repeat on a regular basis nowadays. And you would be right, because it is. It is just saying the exact same while simultaneously changing the narrative a little bit, massaging it a little bit so that it fits modern sensibilities. Just something.
Hassan is kind of retarded. Anti-Semitism existed in America for an extremely long time. Like, I mean, you have Henry Ford, who created his own private newspaper, trying to spread anti-Semitic propaganda about Jews. So Richard Nixon didn't create anti-Semitism in North America, you fucking idiot.
Thing to consider.
I don't know why they do. You see, the Bible makes a distinction, Mr. President, between two groups of Jews. One is called the synagogue of Satan. Yeah. You know it, but our Herman's is Jewish. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was something that Henry Ford came up with. Henry Ford was claiming that Jews were Satanists.
Yes. The Bible says there are two different kinds. There are two different kinds. And those people, in the latter days, it's called the remnant of God's people, which will be Jewish people. And then there's the synagogue of Satan. And nearly all of your religious deceptions in the latter days, what the Bible speaks, latter days will be 1,000 years.
This is cool, man. I just want to also point out another thing. There's a reason why we never look at this kind of stuff, because when we live in America, we have a way to understand Christianity and Christian fundamentalism and separate that from like Christianity across the board. There's a reason why these incredibly powerful people are having this conversation in private And no one will think that like these are mullahs who are operating on fundamentalism, and America is demonstrably like a Christian fundamentalist fascist nation. The reason why we don't view this conversation in the same vein as like an Iranian mullah is because of our monolithic understanding, Islamophobia in general, our monolithic understanding of our enemies, or of marginalized communities in general, or countries that we have dished out a lot of violence to. Whereas in the United States of America, where we live, we of course recognize that this is not representative of every single American, just so you understand. Although, all things considered, if you were to operate on the same boundaries that the same smoke that you have for, I guess, Islam, the Islamic world in general, as an Iranian, are you saying that the mullahs are good? You have to literally be the most delusional person on the planet if you are thinking that I'm saying the mullahs are good when comparing them to Richard Nixon. You are basically reinforcing the exact same point that I've made time and time again. A lot of people operate on the boundaries of, well, America's good ultimately. No, when I compare a foreign adversary to America.
Okay, whatever.
Let me compare troll.
Let's just play some Call of Duty. Ninja vest. That's interesting. Fuck. Damn it. Damn it. Ah, fuck. Fuck you.
Enemy securing Bravo. Hostile UAV in the area.
Shit. Ah, fuck.
Enemy UAV active.
Revenge isn't usually my thing.
We're taking Bravo. Friendly UAV online.
Oh, bullshit. Damn it. Okay, dude, our team is, like, not really doing anything. I have no idea how he shot me. That's stupid. Holy fuck, bro. Oh my god! Holy shit!
Hostile eliminated. Took out the trophy system. Loading fresh mag. Stun grenade.
Dude, move up!
Enemy securing Bravo.
Throwing a stun grenade.
Holy shit! Dude.
Feeling weak. Enemy KIA. Careless mistake. Won't happen again.
Enemy taking Bravo. Enemy securing Bravo. Enemy UAV active.
Careless mistake. Won't happen again.
Oh, fucking.
Hostile eliminated.
Holy crap! What a pant load. Dude, oh my god, my teammates are doing fucking jack shit. Fucking useless turds.
Revenge isn't usually my thing.
Great.
Tactical out.
That's right, do nothing. Just fucking stay in the spawn, do nothing, play objective-based game modes, and don't play objective. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Dude, just over and over again. Bro, dude! Fuck you! Fuck all of you! Oh my god, I fucking hate you all! Fuck you! Wait, what the fuck? Oh. What have I been eating lately? Just a lot of tofu. fuck?
Feeling weak.
That'll teach you.
Great.
Changing max. Enemy KIA.
What in the shit, bro? Wow, okay.
Enemy remote turret up left. Reloading.
That is highly, highly annoying. Dude. How in the fucking balls? Yeah, of course.
Loading fresh mag. I could use a med kit. Reloading. Hostile eliminated. Changing max.
Damn it. It's 5 more kills.
Loading fresh mag.
No, we're not gonna react to Brave Wilderness. Tofu with what? I'll just have like potatoes or apples or something. You want to play Last of Us or Resident Evil 7? No, not really. I played Resident Evil 7 a lot. I could always play Last of Us more, but I want to play Last of Us 2, but it hasn't come out on PC yet. Mike donated $2. Would you say women who say they don't want to go 50-50 when it comes to splitting bills and rent are just entitled and looking to free to load off someone else? In all likelihood, yeah. Thanks for the donation, Mike. Like, unless they have some sort of basis for that, like, I don't know, they want to have a lot of children and they want to take care of kids, then obviously you can't really split bills equally, but otherwise, yeah.
Hardcore team deathmatch. You're clear to engage any and all hostiles in the AO.
Enemy KIA.
Okay, yeah, thank you, that's fair. Fuck right off. Oh my god, fuck you. Fuck you.
Reloading. Hostile eliminated.
How in the hell did he shoot me? Here we go. Eat shit.
Enemy UAV active.
Enemy KIA.
I'm not gonna play X Defiant.
Hostile eliminated.
Hostile UAV in the area.
The sniper's down.
He shouldn't have been able to hit me, but he did.
Enemy UAV active.
Grenade, get back. Stun incoming.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm sure. Fuck you.
Stun grenade.
Great. Great.
Loading fresh mag. Stun incoming.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Throwing a stun grenade.
Just... how in the fuck? Like, they really gotta fucking stop with the, like, crazy moon jumps in this game. Like, the guy was 20 feet in the fucking air.
Grenade. Stun grenade.
Hostile UAV in the area. We're getting hit hard.
We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. Yeah, that's stupid, alright.
Mission failed. Return to base.
I've had my fill with Call of Duty. Alright, I think I'm gonna go to bed. It is late. It's, past 12. So I'm gonna go nighty-night. I might do another morning, afternoon stream tomorrow, but I am for sure gonna stream at night tomorrow, so I'll see you all then. When am I gonna do the lean beef call-out vid? Tomorrow. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. And sweet dreams.